Ladies and gentlemen, comm stars, HR heroes, and popcorn lovers everywhere, welcome back to The Comm Show, where internal comms gets the spotlight it deserves, employee experience steals the scene, and we keep things high energy with zero boring slide decks. I'm your host, Barbara Booras, and we are so excited to be back for episode 2, which we're calling People, Popcorn, and the Power of Creative Comms. Now, this episode is extra buttery because we're joined by two all-stars from the AMC Theatres. And this is a company that's not just in the business of movies, it is seriously crushing the comms game. So excited for this conversation today. But before we jump in, we've got a little giveaway for you. So you're not going to want to miss this one. Today, we've got a chance for one lucky audience member to win a $200 Visa gift card and a very sweet AMC swag box. So here's how to enter. Make a post on LinkedIn, including a screenshot from today's episode, and let us know your favorite takeaway. Just be sure to tag Workvivo by Zoom to make it official. The details are in the chat, and as always, please only flattering screenshots of me, none of this like closed eyes, mid-sentence, like winky face business, none of that. So jump on in over to LinkedIn, make sure you post for that chance to win. And also today we are going to be mixing things up a little bit. We're going to add some polls throughout the show. So we want to keep things engaging. We want to hear from our audience. I know some folks on the West Coast, you guys are still waking up. But we're also going to save some time for questions at the end to keep you guys awake and engaged with us. All right. And now, joining me live from the theater at AMC headquarters are two pros who know how to turn communication into connection and data into real deal impact. We have the amazingly talented Manager of Inclusive Communications, Abby McMullen. Hello, Abby. Hi. So excited to have you with us. And of course, the legendary Director of People Analytics and Systems, Adam Murphy. Welcome, Adam.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Barbara.
Hello. Thank you both for being here. All right, you guys ready? You ready to get into it?
We're very ready. We're here in our recliners.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to an AMC theater lately, or if you're in Europe, our Odeon Cinema Group brands, check it out. They've got heaters. I had just accidentally turned mine on, so I am warmed up and ready, literally.
Some might say you're in the hot seat today.
Oh,
yeah.
New title.
Brilliant.
Oh, I got it. We got jokes.
We got jokes. We're here for it. So first, we are going to warm up with a little movie-themed icebreaker. So if your communication style had a movie title, what would it be?
Yeah, so you don't answer these off the cuff. Thankfully, Barbara sent us this one in advance. I decided the best fit would be a nod to Mel Brooks, and it would be a brief history of everything I've ever thought. That's definitely my communication style. A bit long-winded.
I love that. I'm a giant Mel Brooks fan, so huge Spaceballs nerd over here. Love it. Abby, what about you?
Yeah, I'm like complete opposite end of the coin, and I'm going with Inside Out 2 because I feel like our people, we kind of get all of these bits and bobs from how special we are and how unique we can be together, but we come together and kind of drive towards this mission and work to make movies better, all as one. So,
but it's the sequel. It's number 2.
It's got to be number 2.
So there's lots of anxiety in there as well.
Yeah.
So much anxiety. I love it. I was actually thinking about this morning of what my movie title might be, and I think it's License to GIF, because there's who doesn't love a good GIF? And then also, there's a little bit of Bond in there, a little martini reference. Adam, I love martinis, so yeah, I think License to GIF would be mine. So brilliant. You guys are still pretty early in your journey with Workvivo, and you're already sitting at a really super impressive 85% activation rate. That's nearly best in class for folks starting out. So what do you think made your tool land with your team just like right out of the gate?
Well, I'm excited to correct you. We checked right before the webinar started. We're actually at 87% now.
Oh, amazing. Incredible.
Which is really cool for us because this is a time of the year where we have a lot more seasonal frontline associates, right? The folks who are in the theaters providing that guest service during the summer. July is one of the busiest months for movie theaters. And as those new folks come in, usually we would see that activation rate drop because we're busy. It's hard to get people on. But I think it really shows that our theaters have found practical value in getting their operations done through the tool, and that's what's made them, get on board right when they're starting in the theater, right when they're having those orientation conversations. So first of all, I think Abby is a big reason that we have such high activations rates.
False.
Yeah. No, but we've got a really committed team, and I think that we're called the Theater Support Center for a reason. Support is right there in the middle. We have a saying here that
if you're not helping a guest, you should be helping someone that is.
Yes.
Not serving a guest.
Yeah.
You should be serving someone that is.
I like it phrased, you better be serving
better be.
Yeah.
You better
a little
be
stronger.
Yeah.
And so really the whole team approaches it with that service mindset, right? And so we're not kind of sitting back and just waiting for it to happen. It's what are the barriers? What do you need help with? So I think that service mindset is big. Plus, it's been part of our culture now for a few years. We've really made this evolution to inclusive communications, as we call it, right?
Yes, inclusive comms. So really creating a space like beyond your break rooms where people feel that sense of belonging for all. And I think it makes them feel a part of our entire circuit because there's that authentic reach from coast to coast. So peeking into those break rooms and kind of learning from others, that's been a huge success, I think, of engagement platforms. So
yeah. And if any of our general managers are watching, I think they deserve a big shout out as well, because the heart of the answer to your question, Barbara, is just, it's not overcomplicated. You get an army there to help you, and you get all of these people in there to share their why, share their with them, their what's in it for me. And they have driven these activation rates up all across the country.
Yeah.
Everybody in our company knows Miami is at the top of the list. They battle with Phoenix every once in a while.
Yeah.
Boston climbed to number 3. So it's competition, and it's
competitive. Yeah, for sure.
Healthy competition is always good. You mentioned 2 things there. Number one, if Beyond the Break Room isn't a series yet, you need to make it a series on the platform because that's
right.
Amazing. I love that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
I love that.
And then also with them, I gotta circle back on that. What's in it for me? I love it. I was like, I don't think I've actually heard it as an acronym, and it's kind of hysterical.
It's a little clumsy to say, so maybe that's why you don't hear it all.
I love it though. What's in it for me? That's huge.
You're expectorating something, yeah.
Expectorating.
But yeah, no, that's important to us, right? We're a values-based company. Literally just came up from downstairs where our head of HR was talking about our values with our head of operations to the whole operations team. And communication, they've really boiled down to make sure people know the why and the what's in it for me. And it's very simple, right? You've got comms professionals on this call, and I think they know that. You just got to reach back in your days where you learned the basics and go back to it. I'm not a comms professional. I'm like the imposter on the comms show, and so I'm just Abby support.
Just get out.
Pushes me. Yeah, he pushes me to think about that. Absolutely.
Wow. Well, you said some of your top performing posts are really kind of like all about your people. And this is when we were chatting a little bit more, backstage, real faces, those shout outs, the day in the life stuff. Why do you think those type of comms are really hitting harder than anything else? And can you kind of give us an example of content like this?
Yeah, I'll take this one. I wholeheartedly believe that the success of this tool is ran by our people. So, I think what's cool about a company that's as widespread as AMC and as tenured is we are able to shout those people out and really showcase them, right? They're the ones generating revenue for our business. They're the ones serving the guest on a day-to-day. So when they're seen kind of center stage, if you will, I think that it really resonates with them because it's them, it's their teams, it's someone in their market or maybe their best work friend, right? But those shout outs and really creating that visible recognition and then asking people to join in, I think just creates this energy that we can't contain. I mean, the amount of shout outs on our tool, I feel like is increasing by the day.
Oh yeah.
But when I think of a prime example, it's, it could be anything as manager of the quarter. So like monthly awards and things like that, or really just anytime we're celebrating our people. We literally have a space called Celebrating Our People.
Yeah.
So Trying to think of other examples. There's just so many.
Well, I mean, you're going on recognition, right? And for those of you who saw me take a drink, this is not, Barbara and I are not on martinis yet. But if
yet.
I'm in a recline, I got a big cup holder. I've got
That's
to have
that's the other comm show. That's the late night
Right.
show.
The after show.
Yeah. It's late for our friends in Ireland, but not us here yet. So, people posts Barbara mentions, right, which you're hitting on recognition, Abby, but I think what's been really powerful is, I mean, the numbers spike on literally anything people related, and it gives people a place to, I think, share their stories in a way that maybe traditional comms never did, or things that only small networks knew about. So it could be like causes they care about. Memorials have been a really special thing in our communications, where people can share those stories. And then we are able to have their families join the platform as well, so that they can have that view into their work life. You talk about any of the community service events that folks do, like literally anything people related. That is the heart of what people are most interested in, to lift each other up and celebrate what makes this whole company tick. Who's doing that guest service, like Abby mentioned.
I love that. Now, I think it's a good segue, because I'm thinking a lot about, you've moved away from kind of that traditional top-down approach when it comes to your comms, right? And really empowered your people, and they're getting in there and they're speaking up, like you said, about these causes that are really important to them, and they're really, bringing a lot of themselves to work. I love that. But you really need trust to make that happen. You need to create a safe space where people can communicate, right? So how do you create that trust across such a big and busy and complex organization? How do you do that in your roles?
You put that really well, Barbara. Trust is the key, right? I was going to give you easy answers of like, just let it happen. Like, how do you get it done? Like, it's easy to get done, but for everybody to get to the place where they're okay with it happening that way, that's the journey, right? It's a hearts and minds journey. And so for us, it was showing other organizations that were successfully doing this. So tap into your strengths. There are a lot of organizations like ours out there. If you're a frontline organization, we're just having wild success, and the success stories from those other organizations, I think, helped everybody understand how it was gonna work, right? But it's totally changing the way things are, right? We've moved from, like, you got to submit a story, get it approved on this website, your traditional intranet, right? And so to get into a world where your content creators are just everywhere, and it's really, really open, and the heart of things are not necessarily written by Abby, like, you're more of like a consultant, right?
Absolutely.
A friend. That helps elevate it. And so being very transparent, I think, was also a big part of that trust, right? Starting to get from that why into the how. Like, how is this going to happen? You don't go in without a plan. So, like, if you don't have answers to the basic questions, role play with your friend there to make sure they can grill you and ask you all the hard questions. And I would grill Abby with questions and make sure we knew, like, okay, what if something pops up that you don't want it to, or what if you don't have quite the message you want it to have, or something peters out? What do you do? And you've got the answers to those.
Yeah, and I think another thing that Adam said, and I just want to kind of reiterate here, is there was somewhat of a pressure test, right? We opened the platform more so on Workvivo than we had on our previous engagement platform. And what we found is, instead of these formal, like, reported posts and people being offended, is it opened conversation.
Oh yeah.
People across our circuit were almost having like coaching combos with one another of, hey, is this really work appropriate? Oh, I don't know. And it created this banter and this openness to new ideas, and it really, like, kind of worked itself out. So I think a lot of people on this call can probably agree that's a fear in the back of our mind as comms professionals. But I think if you've got the right people, which a lot of our organizations do, you really let them lead the way in terms of those combos. So
I like conversations, right? It's like, when you think about all these communications that are developed, I think that's maybe a simple way to describe what the shift was from traditional comms to what we call inclusive comms. Is it's more about creating conversations than communications.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. And the platform allows you to do that. That's the beauty of the two-way
Right.
communication, that you actually
Yeah.
have, the vehicle for it, and to meet your employees where they're at, to communicate in a way that they're familiar with and, use on their day-to-day life.
Yeah.
I want to touch on, we were chatting about your theater life hack space. This is something you brought up, and I would love for you to touch on it. Tell us, number one, what is a theater life hack? And maybe just give us a little taste of maybe like what was the most unexpected or genius nugget you got out of that.
This was like one of our first spaces, right? Like
Yes.
from setup. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Theater life hacks, I think generationally met our associates where they were at, because you have this Gen Z, Gen Alpha, not to say that's all of our organization at all, but it's a lot of our seasonal workers, and they're so used to TikTok. So theater life hacks, I think, was AMC's way of posting pro tips, sharing your life hacks, right? Those experiences that made work easier. And what we found is that people were sharing, they were kind of like retweeting, so to speak. So they would like then implement that in their theaters and really spread the success. Whereas before we had a tool such as Workvivo, right? Everyone was running their own business to the best of
Yeah.
their ability. And now we have so many synergies and so many life hacks to make their jobs easier. And that, at the end of the day, at the Theater Support Center, is what we're here to do. So really, they're crowdsourcing that
Yeah.
information,
Yeah.
I would say.
None of it is things I know. Yeah.
No.
But yeah, I mean, that connection to other places, right? So, if you live in a metro area, you probably have a lot of AMC theaters right next to you, but we also have awesome theaters spread out throughout the country, and somebody may be, 2 or more hours away from the next theater, and it can feel isolated, right? And so this started to connect to to those ideas from folks outside of any, traditional market boundaries, where they were grabbing those tips on, how to hang mop heads, how to replace a light that was in your theater from the 1980s. I mean, these hacks just spread everywhere. Most of them are like, how do I clean this up off this service? And how do I fix this recliner leather?
Yes,
Yeah.
lots of facilities stuff.
We have a theater that like they shared their story up in Boston, Dave. And they
Yes.
have like sewing machines in their theater because they took ownership of, hey, how can we create some of these covers for our recliners when we have these supply chain issues, and really finding solutions on their own. And it's been really powerful, and
Really
we've been
cool.
able to leverage those then as a support center to help with those challenges as they come up. Yeah.
I love that. Love the innovation. I've got a question that actually came through the chat that I think is a good one. Would love for you to answer this one. Can you give us a sense of how many colleagues are in the platform? I guess we didn't address that. To give us a sense of the size of the AMC team.
Good question. 87% of what? 5 people? That's really easy. No.
It's just you two, right?
Yeah, just us, 100%. We're like it sounds like a magic act, like Abby and Adam.
It's an illusion.
Yeah. We have about 25,000 associates here in the US, and then an additional 9 to 10,000 associates over in Europe. And so 87% of those 25,000 here in the US are on the platform. And then weekly engagement and monthly engagement from there. Monthly, we still see about 95% of those 25,000 on the platform at least once a month. And then about 70% of those on the platform at least once a week. So we know we've got those weekly visits and getting that content for whatever reason that brings them in there. Yeah.
Huge. And we're going to touch on that a little bit, what keeps on coming back in a moment. But I did want to circle back to recognition. And I don't know, I'm sure you both can answer this, but maybe Abby, you can start us off. It's so clear that recognition is such a huge part of your culture. And like we know that's part of the secret sauce to great employee experience and employee engagement. So I know you do such a nice job of, celebrating those promotions, upward mobility, and sounds like celebrating like those little wins, those big wins, like all forms of recognition. Can you give us a little bit more of like the flavor of recognition at AMC and those shout outs, like what kind of shout outs you're seeing, or how people are recognizing folks on the platform and in real life?
Yeah, so I think this answer is twofold. One, who our people are natively, right, throughout all of the years of them being in this industry. And then two, the functionality of the platform. So number one, I think we employ really great people, really unique, fun, engaging movie people. Yes.
They like fun. We're a fun place to work.
So it's fun for them to be able to kind of share their wins and celebrate the people in their theaters. Like I mentioned before, we literally have a space called Celebrating Our People. But from a functionality perspective, I mean, our people get so excited that they get to see their name pop up in the shout outs function. We're so excited to be able to comment and make posts that are connected to values, right? We're a value-based company, so people are excited to do that. And then the third, I would say, which I did not realize it would get as much traction as it did, but badges. We love
their badges.
I love a good badge.
Yes.
Love their badges. Yeah.
So it's a game of collecting badges and how can I be, more competitive in this space, or what do I need to do to become a, we call it AMC All Access. So an all access champion. And it's again, kind of circling back to our people, like our people want to be great. They want to know where they can fill those gaps and build those skills. So it's just this evolution and this kind of roundabout way of everyone spreading that cheer and love for one another all the time. So
well, I think there's different layers of it too, right? So you have like the Celebrating Our People space, which is what we call one of our town hall spaces. Anybody can join it, anybody can post in it. But that kind of public recognition like isn't right for everybody. They may not want that level. So I think a big part for us too is getting to know how your people want to be recognized. Like
very true.
Even if it's like your birthday, like I don't like people talking about it's my birthday. I think like
sensitive.
April 20th, right? Isn't it?
Right, exactly.
A singing telegram. So get ready for
Barbara's
that.
Barbara's got it. Yeah, so like maybe they want a post in their theater specific space where more it's just their team can talk about it and you get more engagement, or maybe they just want a chat message. And that's really powerful, is if you're just sending them a, hey, I really appreciate what you did. This is what I saw, the behavior that I observed. It was great. Thank you for being such a great member of the team.
Recognizing, reinforcing. Yeah, love that.
And then we got a slew of formal recognition programs, right?
Absolutely.
Which every company's got, this different versions of this. But I would say when I joined AMC, the biggest event I've ever seen us have is what's called our General Manager of the Year Awards, GMODI. I mean, this is like Oscars night at AMC. This is a big deal. And it's a way to celebrate these incredible general managers. And we do it at our annual leadership conference. And so Abby uses live streaming there. And that way, this was an event that only ever reached people at the leadership conference in the past. So that's general and senior managers, and then the support team who's there to help put on the conference for them. And it's great. It was awesome. But to take that event and let their teams join in on it.
Yeah.
Because every GM's first line of their acceptance speech is like, my team did it, right? Thank you, my team.
Yes.
So they just, they tune in and cheer on their GMs, and they love that. And then our operations team made a manager of the quarter and manager of the year. So that's really powerful. And they get a badge for it, of course.
Naturally.
Naturally.
Yeah. And then we have what's called People's Choice Awards, which is a similar award that we do for our crew, the frontline staff, when they get guest compliments through our guest surveys. At every quarter, one of our executives hops on and reads off, some top guest survey comments. And let me tell you, I think what makes them recognition work here is when they win, I mean, badges, of course, but like they get stuff
so much.
And it's not talking about expensive things, right? I think these are really realistic. I remember that was a question from the last episode, is like, how do we do this? We don't have any money.
Use what you have. Control what you can control.
Right. Like time off is really great for people, or the ability to pick their schedule for a week. And a badge is free, and that's what I care about the most.
I love that. I love that.
Unsolicited feedback for people on the call. Like when we think of the evolution of using tools like this and being presented with functionality, like, yes, a lot of these things are unique to AMC, but something that I think is not unique at all, if anything, it's unique to the platform, is, you can create a page and create a wall of fame. keep all of that information, keep that celebration for years to come, right? And people can look back at this repository and be like, oh, that was such a great time. So again, unsolicited feedback.
I don't think it's so much unsolicited. Like Barbara invited us here. She connected. Like
You're
this
welcome.
is awesome.
No, we love this. The tips,
Get out your notebooks, people.
All right. The tips and tricks are amazing. I did want to follow up. So I know you said they've been using a lot of the value features so you can tie a shout out to a value. I love that. I would be curious what value has been the most popular? Like what AMC value are you seeing one, or is it just like all across the board? Can you share a little bit about AMC value?
Do you have a favorite best friend? Like, well,
That's
what do you
fair.
make me choose between
know,
Coke
sorry.
and Coke
I
no
know.
sugar? And,
Choose one, I'll choose one.
like I don't have a favorite child, but no,
I know.
all values are creative. So our
Oh.
values are communication, ownership, leadership, and belonging for all. And I would say in terms of our platform, I'm probably going to steal your answer, but belonging for all is the value that has really taken life.
Yeah.
And our belonging teams, and we have councils that are creating opportunities to have educational opportunities, advocacy, and really facilitate a lot of this content. It's been amazing. So I work in the HR space, right? And I'm kind of cynical. Like a lot of times, I know it's no surprise to Abby, but maybe you're like, what? This lovable guy on the
Getting the yin and yang right now. I'm getting a lot of it.
And sometimes values can feel like just like a Harvard Business Review article title. Like it's like, okay, we think as corporate associates, like that's what matters. No, like that's what's so powerful about how our values have taken life on the platform, because we don't like create them and tell people what they're doing. These are all born from within. All of culture is born from within, and we're simply putting a megaphone up to that with Workvivo and All Access. And our belonging councils just have content that has brought the concept of belonging for all to life on the platforms, where it's way more than words. I mean, it is stories. It is your journey. It is me committing to understand the journey you've been through. And again, doesn't just create a comm. Like those comments go, and this is a conversation now.
Yeah, lives and breathes.
And there's a podcast on that, one of our most popular, longstanding podcasts. Let's Talk About It. Shout out to the whole team at Let's Talk About It.
Yeah.
They have really taken that long form and given you the opportunity to really dig into people's stories, really dig into that conversation.
Yeah.
And so it brings it to life.
Yeah, and I will just add, because I saw a question in the chat, and I think that it's the perfect time to plug it. I was really fast.
Nice.
Good eye.
We talk about values, and I think it's an obvious question of, yes, the functionality's there, but like, how did you get buy-in? And I saw someone, and I'm sorry that I missed your name, but getting senior leadership to post one values update. I mean, you would be surprised how quickly people are like, oh, how did they do that? Oh, I can click here. This is how I see all the values. I want to be a part of that. So it's really not only like a shared language thing, but a shared knowledge of functionality. So you see it, you want to emulate it, right? You know that executive that you look up to, and you see them post a value on belonging for all or ownership or what have you. And as an associate that has goals to grow in the company, I think they see that and want to be a part of it. Again, it's being a part of something bigger than yourself. So values have been great. I feel like we live and breathe them now, even more so than before.
I'm gonna play host here, Barbara, real quick. Abby, you mentioned getting senior leaders to share things. I feel like you just jumped over a big nugget. How on earth do you do that? Some of our audience may be asking. Abby's so good at this. So I think the secret to senior leadership is it's just not that complicated, right? First off, for us, it's about engage the engaged. So start with your senior leaders who are like literally standing there ready to, and they exist at your company. It might not always be at the level you think, but those leaders are in your company. So start with them and then just make it easy, right? Remove any barriers. So Abby's really good at just sharing, hey, these have been the posts from senior leaders. Here are links to things you can comment on. Here are opportunities you have to engage.
Yeah.
They're super busy. They have very complicated perspectives across such a wide span that help is important. They want to do things, and they may not ask because they're good at their jobs. They're going to figure it out. But if we can help make their jobs easier, then I have found that they're so open to it when you make it easy for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell them what you need them to do and they'll do it. And I think it's just a conversation, to your point, and boiling it down to what it is. And I think the impact starts to speak for itself when you start to look at the leaderboards and things.
Leaderboards.
They start to get competitive.
If they don't listen, just make it competitive, right?
Yeah. Lots of fun there.
A very good shout. Are they doing like short form videos? We found that to be really popular, like across the Workvivo customer base. Get that leader where if a short form like TikTok style video just talking to your cell phone that's less than a minute is going to land better versus a really buttoned up formal like high production like conversation with your CEO. Are you seeing the use of video come out with leaders as well?
Yeah.
Tons. Yeah.
I would say live brainstorm here. We have our food and beverage group that will hop on live stream in any situation.
Food and beverage is so good at
it. We have our operations team that they do go in like a studio environment a little bit, and they do year-to-date results. So really telling our people kind of where we're at financially, what we need to do to be better, right?
And they do it in one take.
I'm
on those videos sometimes. No edits.
Authentic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant. It's okay if it's a little rough around the edges. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Totally.
That makes it more
It's who they are. They'll do pictures. Sometimes our programming team will tell us about an exciting, contract that they've made with like
recent. Oh my gosh, they bring in like stars.
Yes.
Yeah.
We host movies. So like you can create however you would like. And I think that's the beauty in this is it's so decentralized and people work together. Again, kind of like in a consultative space that they're like, hey, what are you doing? You're doing a poll. Okay, well, we're doing this. And I think we all rise. So lots of formats.
But then make it easy, right? Like it's so funny. I think a lot of people in our company who do these, like you just start to see a lot of little phone tripods pop up, ring lights, microphones, like look, if you've got the budget for them, you're awesome. Go supply everybody those things. But otherwise, like just help them know, hey,
we've all got them. And we lost your video feed there. We're just keeping it exciting here today on the Comm Show.
Hey,
and we're back. Hey, ooh, new angle.
No touching. Done.
Yeah.
No touching.
We don't work in the Sight and Sound department. They're awesome. They helped us set up here. Thank you, Sight and Sound. Yeah, it's not us.
Well, okay, it sounds like we're really bringing our whole selves to work today, even when we're breaking technology. Terrible segue, but so I feel super lucky to work at a company like Workvivo where I can be my whole nerdy self, my whole goober self. Yes, movie candy reference. So I know that's super important at AMC. How does that translate in terms of, in the theaters for your staff, like in real life, and then on the platform as well, just that concept of bringing your whole self to work?
Ooh. This one is another one, I think, like values that you say it a lot, but then like, how does it come to life? And this platform, we've seen it come to life. So we have a space that's one of our core spaces similar to celebrating our people. It's called The Whole Person. And I think this was a little bit of a learning experience for us because a lot of times, you want to think about that content curation, right? Where does something go? And if I want to know just what I need to know, how do I make sure I'm not looking at 30 pictures of a sunrise, right? Well, if you're
that's
first,
nice though.
See, you got the right first.
I don't know. I'm really into sunrises.
The sunrises are good, and I use that as an example because if your first instinct is, "Oh, hey, I so love this picture. Sunrises are not for this platform." I think you got to pause and think for a minute because if that's what they care about, that's how you start that. Bring your whole self to work. Make it okay. And so the whole person, that's your place to do that. We've got a space called Daily Memes. If you've got a meme that's funny and it's appropriate, post them there, right? I think we're going to need a recipes group. Like people post recipes in that space. So
pets.
We have pets at AMC, no doubt. That was needed to have right away.
Pet spaces are always like one of the number one most popular. Like regardless, I don't care what industry you work in, it's like the pet space always dominates. But daily memes, ooh, we might need to steal that one. That is Everybody loves a
Lots of-
good meme.
Yeah, there's lots of movie memes too. So
Yeah.
again, it kind of ties back to the business.
Give
I
them
mean,
a space, right? And that's
yeah.
what you've
Yeah.
given them a platform in whatever your comms platform is. Like you're giving them a space there. You literally give them a space for everything they want to bring in and share there, right? That fits your policies. But then I think the answer is leaders again. I would say to your question, Barbara, of them demonstrating what that means to them.
Mhm.
And so it was a lot of really good, your last guests talked about the videos that just show that personal story. And so people talking about what it means to them.
Yeah.
One of our leaders really repeats the phrase, it's okay to not be okay.
Mhm.
There's been such a great journey with mental wellness on the platform, really creating conversations again, so that people feel like it is okay to bring my whole person into this platform, into the work environment that you have brought me here. We're lucky to have you work for
All of
AMC
you.
and
Yeah.
all of you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly as you are.
Very cool. Now, I know the vast majority of your folks are frontline, right? They're working
Yeah.
in the theaters. And I'd imagine they probably don't have access to email or computers. And I see a couple of questions kind of popping in on the chat on this. So I think this will be helpful for folks. So can you share just like a little bit more about the tech side of things, like how people are actually accessing Workvivo? I know this can be a big challenge for a lot of folks. It's one of like the number one questions that I get, especially with respect to frontline. But before you jump in with your answer, we are going to have a poll up if it hasn't already gone up. And it's really, we want the audience to let us know how you're communicating with your team. So we would love to hear, I know many folks are facing this challenge, but what do you guys think? Can you share a little bit about how your team is actually accessing the platform, especially on that front line?
I mean, this is the heart of the why, right? So any of our fellow frontline peers out there, the struggle we go through on having a disconnected workforce.
Mhm.
And this was the first, right? That everybody finally was on.
Yeah. I would say, if memory serves me right, 86% of our activated associates are accessing the tool via the mobile.
Yes.
And meeting them where they're at. I mean, exactly, like you don't have a desktop or an office computer, but you want to get to your group chat for shift trade, or your apps part of the tool for a repository of work tools. Like, I just think that we get into this conversation of, dare I say, compensable time. And really, instead of that, it's no, we're just trying to streamline things for our people. And when they need something and when they want to view their schedule, they will go looking for it. But we're never going to ask anything of them on a time that's
welcome
not
to the
their
employment law webinar. There's no
Honestly.
official legal advice. Search
It's
your own.
certainly,
Zero.
We are not tax consultants. Yeah.
No.
But I mean, Barbara, there's a few ways to answer this question, because I know you guys talked about it on the last episode too. And Abby gave the answer of like literally how are they getting in that mobile, but also our theaters have found a really great way, because it's always omni-channel, right? It's never one method. We had a comms leader used to say the 7 times 7 ways, right? I'm sure a lot of you say that out there. Yeah. So break rooms are really powerful. And we're not talking about fancy technology. Like, they'll have an old monitor and it's not even connected to the internet, but they'll put pieces of content from All Access, our Workvivo site, and they'll just put it up on that slideshow for folks, right?
Yes, PowerPoint slideshows.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
So that's how you're kind of exposing them, so then they can get in on their own. And the answer to this question, if you don't have frontline in your communications, is really difficult to answer without technology. And I'll just say, like, real talk, we faced that and we were never able to overcome it. Like, not to make an infomercial for, well, I guess we're making an infomercial, Workvivo. Barbara works there, we don't. Like, it has been the single most effective allocation of capital resources for our people to bring them all onto this tool, and it makes everything else possible. So that's really, I think, where the conversation has to start, is if your organization is serious about that, like, what are you doing about it? And I'll tell you, you're going to beat your head against that brick wall for a long time. Like, there's just, it's just not going to happen without the right tools
Yeah.
that make it happen. And that's why we're so thankful that Workvivo and other players in this space are so committed to the Frontline, because it's easy. It's easy for our people to get their invite and claim their accounts and get in and join the conversation from day one. And they do that.
Yeah. And self-service, reset their password when you forget, right? Like there's just a lot of automation to it that I think we grew with the technological age, and we're very thankful to be partnered with people who are still willing to grow and evolve moving forward 100%. So.
We grew, well, there's cell phones now. That's how fast we're growing. Wow. Yeah.
It's easy, it's accessible.
Again, like meeting employees where they're at, right? With technology they're really familiar with. And when I first started at Workvivo, I was a community manager for one of our strategic customers. And I know their story was pandemic hits and the CEO said, what do you mean we don't have a way to reach all of our employees, like on the front line in the DCs, all these, different, huge, disparate global company. We don't have a way to reach everybody. And it's, it's a global pandemic. It's a crisis. So they need to fix it.
That's what moved it for us, Barbara. Yeah. Like it's a shame it took the pandemic. I don't mean to stop you, but like that. We had a conversation before the pandemic, and this was hard in our organization because we're really looking out for those of you who work in Frontline. You know that your people wear a lot of hats, and we ask them to do a ton. So caring about their time matters. And there was this feeling that it might be additive to include this type of communication, that it's going to be so hard to transition to this, and it'll be a pace and that they can't handle. And then when the pandemic came, it exposed those issues, right, to the nth degree. It was a major, major problem.
Yeah.
And so fortunately, after that, we were able to spin this up, and our people immediately took to it because it's what they wanted. And not just so we could talk to them, so they could talk to each other.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. In a time where connection was so important, it was more important than ever. So I have one question for you that before we hand it over to the audience, I see loads of questions coming in and I want to make sure we have time to go through some of those. So I wanted to make sure we got a chance to touch on data, because I know you guys have a really super smart data-driven approach when it comes to shaping, and apparently Adam, a little bit of both maybe, to shaping that comms and platform strategy. So kind of a two-part question. Firstly, what sort of analytics have been the most helpful to you in terms of like what numbers you're looking at to inform that strategy? And then is there something in that data that you found that kind of surprised you?
Yeah, so there's like a ton of ways to answer this. Join us next week for 2 hours on data.
Episode 2.5.
Yeah.
So step one, I would say, make sure that you are with a partner that makes this really accessible, really easy. And Workvivo does that. And we work with a great partner as well, Line Zero, in helping us understand this information. So the data points are always right there, right in front of us. And we're able to understand those personas, right? And for us, that's really big about data, because our corporate associates, our corporate leadership, our general managers, our hourly managers, our crew are all going to experience the tool in different ways.
Completely.
For instance, we know our crew have told us repeatedly that their homepage they consider for Workvivo is their theater space. And for anybody listening who uses Workvivo, it opens up to the activity feed, not the theater space. So they care so much about their local journey that that's where they want to start. Whereas our corporate or leadership might start with the activity feed. So you got to know what their life is. There's a ton of ways you can do that. You can talk to them. That's recommendation number one. Actually listen and talk, I think.
Employee listening. Yes.
Yeah. You can survey them, which is, we take both approaches, right? We've done focus groups, we've done surveys. We've got a working group of incredible general managers and senior managers who just are constantly giving us that feedback in the most powerful way and helping us navigate kind of how to use the tool most effectively. And more importantly, like teaching each other, right? And sharing those tips. So you've got that persona work. And then I think that helped us understand audience a little better, right? Because our audience, I think what surprised me is that they're not unique to those personas, right? So a communication that maybe you thought was only leadership oriented. So some of the frontline listeners, maybe they're used to I communicate with the manager of that building, and then they communicate everything down in that store, right? And we very much operated like that. And we still do in some ways, right?
Yeah.
We have an awesome colleague who's not with us, Keith Arlotti, who he's not with us. He's still with us. He's not in the
Not
room with
physically.
us.
I hope he's still with us.
Kind of morbid. Sorry.
Weird.
Keith runs our field communications, right? And so his job is to make sure we've got all of this information that's going out there. Are our theaters able to consume what they need when they need it? They know what's need to know, right? So we still have a degree of that. But I think you'll be surprised to also learn the comms that you're putting out, how much crew members or other managers in the theaters want to know this, right? They want to be invested. Movie people, as Abby mentioned, that's a work for us. So our film programming team, shout out to Sergio, writes a ton of content, and he started doing like an industry news weekly. And you have all these movie fans at all levels of the company that really want to engage at such a deep level there. So we started to think about these audience segmentation, right? And I think when we started the journey, we were really reaching our core audience, which might only be 15% of your potential audience, right? And they're the ones who want to read from that specific content creator, the daily, the weekly, the in-depth, every time. They'll never miss anything. They've got the alerts. But we started to encourage groups is think about that next sphere. What is your potential audience? And we think that they can easily, based on how we see the numbers move across other posts, get 20% larger of an audience. And then you start to convert some of that, right? Comms professionals out there know all the correct words to describe what I'm talking about. Like
I think you're doing a great job, Adam.
Yeah, this is basic theories, but I think the point is Workvivo makes it so easy to watch those numbers, right? And then I think it's helped you, Abby, in understanding what kind of content gets what eyes, right?
Yes. I was gonna say, Adam is really good at kind of moving the needle in terms of how I look at data. So it's a matter of which spaces it was shared into to begin with over the evolution of time, right? We're a shift-based company for our frontline associates. What that viewership looks over the span of a week and a half in comparison to a month.
Yeah.
It's
like how much time you need things to breathe.
Yes, it's how the infinite scroll is seen in all these different spaces. It's if someone shares it to a space, what does that do to viewership? Or maybe there's a billboard paired with a really important article. What does that do? So we're still evolving how we look at the data, but a couple tips for people on the call who are partners of Workvivo is it's not just in analytics, right? You can create buckets of content in the campaigns functionality to compare different content types like Adam was talking about too. So I think that there's a lot of different ways you can work all of the information that's presented on the platform. But I think number one, first and foremost, is those personas, because that's helped us understand what our people do natively and what our people want in a sense. So
when you talk about time, Abby, and I think that is another thing that surprised us, Barbara, is that a lot of times we think about in the weekends when our theaters are busy, we need to make sure to quiet comms down, turn the dial down. And what we learned was the opposite. Like that's actually when they're engaged, which rings true for anybody who works in our theaters. Like when you go out and ask them how they're feeling, if it's a slow time, like they're always like, I'm ready for the audiences to come back, right? Like that's the energy, that's what they want. And so being able to target the right kind of communications during those weekends that are more bite-sized, that are more videos, that aren't the long articles, I think has really helped us as well. Yeah.
Amazing. So many great takeaways and ideas and just super insightful conversation. I know I want to leave some time for the audience, but before I pull some questions, I just have to do one final plug for our giveaway. If you didn't get a chance to make that post on LinkedIn, go ahead, take a screenshot of these guys and their amazing chairs in the theater. You'll get a chance to win a $200 gift card, make a fun face, and a swag box from our friends at AMC. So make that post on LinkedIn. Just be sure to tag Workvivo by Zoom. And so I can see lots of fun questions coming in. And I want to take this one, which I think is a really a fun one here in the sense of people are trying to get a sense of what does your team look like? So Laurel says, do you have one dedicated full-time person being the producer of this platform, or is it added to other duties as assigned? Or give us a sense of like who all is involved in running the platform, creating the content, etc.
All right, welcome to the Abby, How's Your Life show. It's Abby, folks. Like, I don't know, we're not a pharmaceutical company. Like, they're not this massive staff, right? We're a lean staff for a reason, and I think it's investing in these technologies that it's made it work. So Abby is your queen of all access.
But he is too kind. So we do have a steering committee, and it is myself, Adam from a systems. I mean, all of the brains behind the platform. I could not have done it without you. So thank you for continuing to support in such an awesome way. And then again, our counterpart, Keith, with the field comms, because I think Adam might have said it earlier on in this conversation, but we're not asking our people to do things that are like really, really hard. We're just asking them to do a lot of things all at the same time. And a platform like this allows for, bookmarking, saving things, right? It's a different avenue for them to streamline their lives. But yeah, I think our steering committee looks at this tool in such a unique way and gets all of our stakeholders invested and talks through strategy in this, I don't know, in this aura that I feel like everyone's kind of on the team.
Well, exactly. And that's the thing, is you're democratizing it, right? So we're not creating, Abby's not creating most of the content. Like, she's creating key. She does have the most liked posts on the platform, but she is creating key. Yeah, she's creating key content, but then across the organization, they've taken that ownership so that Abby can be that consultant. Yes. But to the specific question as well, this is not the only part of Abby's job. I mean, she's overseeing all internal comms. So, she's making strategy decks and helping leadership develop messaging for the organization as well. So it's everything you think of a traditional comm team doing. Yeah.
I love it. Abby, how's your ego? is it built
I'm
up?
feeling like my head's getting bigger.
Are you going to fit through the door when you leave the theater? We've got a question from Sarah, and I think this is a good one to address. Were there any blockers or naysayers who were against the rollout of Workvivo? And if so, how'd you deal with them?
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. They're always for good reasons. Everybody's interested in the success of the company. And look, I would say, how do you address them? You have to align on the core strategy. And if you're only thinking of internal comm strategy, ladder that up. There is likely a talent and people strategy above that. And then ultimately, look, we're a publicly traded company. We're here to deliver on shareholder returns. And we believe we do that through a healthy culture of talent. And so you're aligning on how is this going to deliver that return and help our people be more efficient in that revenue driving behavior. And so it was about being, speaking their language was a big part of the naysayers, and then getting real with I think the ability for you to test these kinds of concepts out is really powerful. So even if you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, they'll never let me do this at scale, so start thinking smaller. Think where you can make a big impact so that you can build that trust, to the earlier question, and prove out, hey, when we leaned in and created this type of comms, and that could just be through any medium that you want to do in one store with one team. If you're starting to create more conversations, if there's more abilities for them to interact, it could be on any other technology that you have. Prove it in a small way, and then your leadership's going to be scrambling to scale this. Because it's a massive impact on how we run our buildings and our culture.
Yeah. And then the only other thing I will say about like quote unquote naysayers is like I think we're really intentional about bringing some of those people in, right? The skeptics into our working group.
Yes.
And not selling or convincing that population that this was great and, pushing our narrative, but really like asking for their advice and ideas and feedback on the platform so it would work better for them. And I think in turn, there was some peer-to-peer influence by those naysayers to then turn around and be like, hey, they turned me, guys, like I see value in this and I'm going to implement it in my theater. And I think that more than me or Adam or anyone here at the corporate office saying, hey, jump on this tool, it was them looking across, the state to someone they knew and respected and had a relationship with, who's saying, hey, I'm on board now, like just give it a chance. And that ball just slowly rolls because of that peer-to-peer influence. So.
I've got, I think, probably our last question for us, which I'm going to combine two questions from Emily and Milagros. So question is, how do you manage comms in terms of if they get overwhelming, like, and help the staff cut through the noise when it comes to accessing those critical need to know updates? And basically, how do you manage having so many posts in the platform so you can assure people are seeing the right information at the right time?
So this was a key strategy for us as we evolved into Workvivo. There were certain enhancements that we wanted to bring, and getting you the information you need fast was one of those.
Yes.
So a, a very Workvivo specific answer is we use news so that when you know it's in news, you know it's information that you need. We use pinning, and this is the thing I love about Workvivo. It gives you we like to think of information that's pushed at you and then information that you stumble upon.
Naturally.
And stumbling upon is great, but that's not where the information like I need to know when you have all these other posts. And so pushing at them, making sure it's top of mind there, and that we're giving it the space, to Abby's point. Sometimes you've got to quiet a couple other things down so that over the time that people will log in throughout the week or their shifts, they can see it. And then I think my non-Workvivo answer is there's not one how, meaning if you think you've gotten it solved and you set it and forget it, you're going to wind up in the same spot in a month. So you have to constantly listen and just ask people in that employee listening, do you feel you're getting the information you need? What did you notice? Or look at your analytics to accompany that sentiment. Because analytics are powerful, but without sentiment, they can tell a different story. I know that people are reading comment, but if it was hard for them to get to that and they had to search for that, like I still get the engagement, but it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
There's someone told me once, remove the toil from things, and that's what you got to try and do, is get that toil out so that they feel good about, oh yeah, I could quickly find what I needed. So yeah, you can't set it and forget it. You got to consistently evolve strategies with your people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it's just one-off conversations because we have a lack of moderation, right? We have a very, very passionate group of people, and we're not trying to lessen or dull the engagement, right? It's just being mindful and consulting with your content creators of cadence and how frequently things are being posted, because it is hard to cut through the noise. But I think conversations here and there really just help kind of guide that path to your north, which is, we want an engaged workforce. So
I love it. Those were some really great questions from the audience. Thank you for answering those. So to wrap us all up, I have one final question from me to you both. What is your one top tip for helping your people build those peer-to-peer connections, which are doing so well at AMC, that foster camaraderie and belonging for all? I know one top tip.
So you can have the last word.
Thank you.
Mine, obviously, since it's my top tip, I've mentioned it like 30 times already, but it's listen. You have to listen. And that doesn't happen passively. You have to be intentional about listening. So create those feedback loops, grow your network much larger than you. The thing that makes small teams work is that they are locked arm in arm with the business across every different part of those operations, and you need to listen to all of them. It's your job to make that call. You're the subject matter expert. You know how to get it done, but if you're not listening and asking those questions, you'll never know where to start.
Yeah. Wow. You gave me the last word and now I feel pressure.
Oh, you got it.
No, I think that in terms of like peer-to-peer influence and how you create that connection is giving them the opportunity to connect. So whether it's regional calls or market meetups or, anything, I mean, it could be engaging in a pro tip situation, kind of like this, right? Like those life hacks in your business or in your building. I think once someone can see and respect how someone else is functioning or how they are navigating their way through work, you connect on so many other levels. Like had Adam and I not met in maybe these chairs at this AMC, like my journey would be completely different, and hopefully vice versa. So
when we share parenting tips, we both have 3-year-olds. So
it's creating a foundation of what that work is, right? Kind of that joint interest but then there's just so much more to it. And I think that circles back to whole person and bringing your whole self to work and all these things. But I think you give them the tip of the iceberg to connect with one another, and really the bottom of the iceberg, all of this awesome engagement will naturally unfold.
Amazing. I'm seriously blown away by this conversation. I feel so inspired. I hope our audience feels so inspired. A huge thank you to you both, Adam, Abby, to AMC Theatres. Go see a movie this week or weekend. There's lots out. Thank you for joining us. It's been so much fun having you for episode 2. And to our audience, thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for all those thoughtful questions, for tuning in all over the world. And we will see you for the next episode of The Com Show. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye,
you.
Barbara.
Bye.